Hey there, everybody. It's me, Dr. Nicole Montero, Chief Creator here at Zen Wanderlust Travel, where, as you know, we encourage you to travel the world, find yourself, and live your purpose. So before we get started, I want to encourage all of you to hit subscribe to the Zen Wanderlust Travel channel so you can get all things travel related and travel inspired. So today we're going to talk about something really practical, and that is how to get your visa to visit Ghana. I'm going to take you step by step through the process because I know from experience that a lot of times people get really confused by the visa process and they let it stop them or prevent them from going to those amazing destinations that they want to get to. So unless you have been living under a rock, you probably have heard that Ghana is all the rage. It is a sought after travel destination for a lot of people. And this year, 2019, is labeled the year of return for people of African descent. And it is marking 400 years since enslaved Africans arrived in the Americas. And so it's being called the year of return, inviting people of African descent, particularly in the Western Hemisphere, to return to the motherland, to the continent of Africa. So this is is being promoted by the tourism board in Ghana. There are other groups in the U.S. that are partnering. It's a really big thing. Besides that, though, even if you look at any of the big travel sites like CNN and New York Times, Ghana has been topping the list of top travel destinations even outside of this year of return. So Ghana is a place that a lot of people are putting on their bucket list and they're trying to get there. It's going to be much easier. They're going to be direct flights soon, actually starting in September 2019 with South African Airways directly from the U.S. to Ghana. There have always been British Airways the flights to Ghana. So you can get there, and you can get, now with more competition, you can get some reasonable flights, particularly if you go at the right time. So we'll get into that in another video, but right now I want to talk about the visa. I have spoken to many people who were like, you know what, I really want to go to Ghana, but I looked at the visa process and it just seems like it's overwhelming. There was a period a few years ago where you could get a visa on arrival for Ghana, but that's no longer possible. But it's really, really, really easy to get your visa to Ghana. I just went there in May to June 2019, and I got my visa following this process in less than 2 weeks. So let's get started. How do you get a visa? I know from experience that a lot of times people are fearful of a visa. It's so confusing, because each country has different visa requirements, and oftentimes it depends on what kind of passport you have. If you have a U.S. passport, it can be a lot easier to go to a lot of places. If you have a passport from an African country or a country in South America or certain parts of Asia, it might be more difficult. So I'm going to tell you the steps now that I know work for the U.S. visa, but you have to go to the website of whatever country you're going to their embassy, to see what the requirements are for each particular country whose passport you might hold. So right now, I'm going to direct you. The first step that you need to do, and let me tell you, this visa process for Ghana is very easy. Filling out the application, going to the website, it won't take you more than 30 minutes, and you should get your visa within 2 weeks of sending off your application. If you're doing just regular service, and if you're doing expedited, you can get it in less than a week. There are, of course, visa services that do all of this for you, but they cost a lot of money, and there really is no need because it's really easy to do it yourself. So the first step that I'm going to tell you to do, it involves going to a website. So we're going to go step by step. The first thing you have to do is go to the website GhanaVisaPassport.com. That's GhanaVisaPassport.com. You go to that website and you will see everything, all the instructions that you need. You'll be on the home page, and then all you have to do and I'm doing it right now so you can see that it really works, is click on the tab at the top that says online visa. So you are going to be filling out a form online that is not going to be sent to the embassy online, but you're going to be able to fill it out online, and then that form is going to be emailed to you, so then you can download it and print it out and then send it in. So you click on that tab that says online visa, and it has a little chart that tells you the time frame for expedited or regular processing. Again, if you start this process in time, you won't need any visa service, and you won't even need to do it expedited. You can just do it regular service. It will be processed within 7 to 10 days, and you will get it back in less than 2 weeks. So what you need to do is, once you get on that page, you go down to the bottom, you read your little overview and instructions. You go down to the bottom and you click the part that says click to fill visa form online. It's in blue, it's at the bottom, and you can't miss it. So you click on that form and you start to fill all of the questions out. It's actually only a 2-page application, so it's really not that much. It's going to ask your name, your date of birth, your nationality, place of birth. You're going to need your passport, so it's going to ask all of your passport information, the passport number, where it was issued, date of issue, date of expiration, which is really important. Most countries will not issue a visa if your passport has less than 6 months time of validity. So if your passport is about to expire, you might as well go ahead and get it renewed. If you have less than a year on your passport, you want to go ahead and do that first, get your passport renewed, and then come and get your visa. So on this form, you click on online visa form, and it will allow you to fill it out. You are going to first select whether or not you want single entry or multiple entry. So if single entry is this, you're going to Ghana for your 2 or 3 weeks, or for however long you're going, and you're just going and you're leaving, you're coming back. That's single entry. You have the visa, you can go in once, and once you exit, that's it. You would need another visa to go back in. Multiple entry is this, maybe you're going to be traveling throughout the region, or you think you might want to come back and forth a few times over a several month period, so you can click multiple entry. Single entry is $60 if it's regular and not expedited, and multiple entry is $100. Okay, so it's also going to ask if you want regular or expedited. So regular, like I said, single entry is $60, multiple is $100. If you're doing expedited, the single entry visa is $100 and the expedited visa is $200. So it's better to just do it on time so you don't have to pay those extra fees. Then you're going to go through and fill out all of the information, your place of birth, date of birth, your passport, all of that information. And then it's going to get to the part where you're going to talk about why you're going to Ghana. So my advice, most of you, unless you're there, you're going to school, which that school would be getting special arrangements for you, or you're going for a job or something like that, or you're trying to get some kind of residency, you will be getting a tourist visa. That's the easiest, the quickest, and it requires the least amount of paperwork and explanation. So you go down, you fill out that information, and then it's going to ask you when you're planning to go and where you're planning to stay. So you want to, there's 2 ways you can do this. If you already know someone in Ghana, you can get an invitation letter, and that's exactly what I did. So I had an invitation letter, and that was basically sufficient. The person had my name, my address, my passport number, date of birth. They wrote all of that in the invitation letter, and so I put that information on the application and sent it in with my application. If that's not the case, if you are trying to, if you have a tour agency that's booking travel for you, or you're just booking on your own and you're going to do Airbnb or look for your own accommodations, and we can talk about that in another video. But if you are just booking on your own and you don't have someone to invite you, then you can click tourist, and then you would put in your airline reservations and then also where you plan to stay. So if you have an airline reservation, it's going to ask for your ticket number, which you can put in, and then also where you plan to stay. Maybe you booked an Airbnb, or you have some kind of hotel or something like that. It's so easy. Those things are so plentiful, and particularly in Accra, but even Cape Coast, Elmina, up in Kumasi, you can find accommodations. So you're going to want to put that information down on the application. It also will ask you what you plan to do, and they're not looking for a whole, blow by blow itinerary. They just want to know what you want to do. So you can just put one or two things. I plan to visit Accra and go to, different museums, or I plan to go to Cape Coast to visit the slave castles, or I plan to, go recreational places or visit clubs. Just make sure you kind of do a little research and you put one or two things down that you plan to do in Ghana. It doesn't have to be extensive. Now, there is a part on the application where it asks you for bank statements. And that's something that's fairly new. I did not do that. Again, I had the invitation letter. I also know many people who did not have the invitation letter. They had their airline ticket and their accommodations reservations, and that's all they needed. But if you want to feel a little bit safer, you can print out a copy of your bank statement. Usually countries do that because they want to make sure that you plan on coming back to your country. You're not planning on overstaying your visa, and that you really are a tourist. Okay, you have the money and you're able to do these things that you say you're going to do. So if it makes you feel more comfortable, but again, you could I'm 95% sure you can get by with your airline reservation and your hotel or accommodations reservation. You put that information down, as well as one or two places that you plan to visit, and you will be fine. So you fill out the information that you need on the online application, you complete it, and it's going to ask you your email address. So once you fill this out, it's going to email the fully typed in application to your email address, which you then will download and print out. So you will have finished your visa application, you download it. Once it comes to your email, you print it out, and then that's where things get fun. That's where you get into the next steps. You have your printed out application. You then have to go and get 2 passport size photos. So you can go, to any drugstore, which I find easiest, but there are a number of apps that you go to your app store. There's Passport Photo app. There are about 5 or 6 of them, both for Android and iPhone, that you can take the picture on your own through the app, and it'll tell you that the measurements and specifications and background are okay, because visa pictures have to be a certain size and you can't have certain things obstructing your face and so forth. So you get your photos, you have your application, you go to the post office, you get a money order. So you don't send cash, you don't send a check, you send a money order for the fee, whether it's the single entry, multiple entry, or rushed or regular service. Whatever that fee is $60, $100, or $200. You get a money order for that fee, and you have your visa, 2 visa photos, you have the visa application, and your passport. You are going to mail those things to the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C. You will also need to purchase a return envelope that is trackable. So in the envelope that you're going to send to the embassy in Ghana, you're going to put your visa application, your money order, your 2 passport size visa photos, your passport, and a return address envelope. So you're going to address that envelope to yourself. Usually it's a priority mail envelope, and you will get tracking from the sales agent at the post office. You'll get tracking on that return envelope so that you can have it tracked to know where it is in the process of being mailed to you. You're going to put all of those things into an envelope, usually priority mail or some sort of trackable envelope that you are going to send to the Embassy of Ghana. And the address for that is on the website, as well as at the bottom of the visa application that you're going to have printed out. So you're going to put those things in the envelope, pay for your shipping, and you send it off. So that's basically it. Everything that you need. You want to put all supporting documents. So if you are going to put your bank statements, then you want to put that in there. If you have a printout of the airline ticket or of any proof of accommodations, you just go ahead and put that in there and you send it off. Now, here's a note that you want to be aware of. The visa is valid for 90 days from the date of issue. So if you're planning to go to Ghana, 4 months from now, you don't want to apply too early for that visa because it's going to expire before you even leave. You want to apply about 3 or 4 weeks before, depending on how long you're planning on staying, because from the date that it's issued, so as soon as they receive it in the mail, they start processing it, and within less than a week, they have issued your visa. And the date that it's issued, you will have 90 days that the visa is valid from there. So you want to be sure that you don't apply too early. You don't want to wait until the last minute. You want to get that sweet spot, okay? And again, you will have a tracking number on the envelope that you sent, as well as the envelope that's going to be sent back to you. I can't stress this enough. You want to make sure that you put that return envelope that's addressed back to you inside, and that it has tracking on it, so that that's the Ghana Embassy's way of making sure that they're not the ones paying for shipping and envelopes, and also making sure that it's trackable so that you can be clear on when it was mailed out to you and where it is in the process of getting to you. So it's really that simple. I heard some people talking about, oh God, I want to go to Ghana, but it's so hard to get this visa. The visa to Ghana is one of the easiest visas you can get. It's just that you have to do a little legwork. You can't just submit it online. But believe me, of all of the visas I've gotten, I've gone to China and Egypt, Guinea, Sudan, those places I had to go directly to the embassy, and it was a lot of work. This one is really, really quite easy, and it's not that expensive. $60 if you don't do it rushed, if you do it in time, and you're doing single entry, okay? So a lot of people are talking about moving to Ghana. That's a whole different video, because there's an invitation for people of African descent to return, not just to visit, but to live and resettle and relocate. But that's a more complex process, okay? But this is for the visitor visa, and you're going to make sure you hit tourist, you get your supporting documents, and you send everything off, all right? So please let me know if it has worked for you. If you have any issues, hit me up, let me know what you ran into. But this is, I took a whole, I was in charge of a whole group of students, college students that were going to Ghana. I helped them with their visa process. I helped another group. I helped individuals. There was no one that followed these steps that did not get their visa within 2 weeks. All right. So have fun. Make sure you hit subscribe, Zen Wanderlust Travel. And we're going to have some subsequent videos on what to do when you're in Ghana, and also how to look at that residency process. I have a guest who is actually an expat in Ghana, and she's going to give us some tips. All right. Thank you so much for joining, and have fun with your visa process. Don't forget to subscribe. Zen Wanderlust Travel.